it's Leanne. Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video, probably almost a month, I'd say. I kind of took some time off for the summer and I kind of wanted to talk about that. I was kind of going through an art slump, and yeah, like I just wasn't inspired to do art the way I normally do art. And normally I do ink and watercolor, and I just didn't feel like it. So I want to talk about just what I went through and how I overcame that art slump. I think it's really important that if you're not feeling motivated to do art, that you just don't force it. Because in my experience, at least, anytime I force myself to do art that I'm not really feeling, I'm not really happy with it. It just comes out kind of crappy, and I'm not really satisfied with the results. So when I have those times, I find it's best to take a break. Sometimes I'll just spend time looking at Instagram, getting inspired by other artists, seeing what's out there, what interests me. I'll look on YouTube, watch some videos from artists that I like, and also some artists that I haven't watched before, and I get to see their style and their technique, and maybe they're doing something different with art. Right now I'm just working on some stickers for my shop. I want to do a fall update, and I've been thinking about doing this for a while, so it's Labor Day weekend right now, so I just wanted to take the time that I have to myself and work on getting some stickers up in my shop, some new stuff, just to freshen up my shop. So what I've done, I've experienced this art slump for the past 2 months. Probably July and August were the biggest for me. I did maybe 2 sketches, 3 sketches in that time. Really, I can count on one hand the amount of art that I made. The thing that brings me out of art slumps, though, is not just not doing art. I actually do art, sort of. I can't say I fully do art, but I do different types of art. And what I mean by that is I'll try different art mediums. So I've been exploring gouache a lot lately, and I think it's not that I want to change my medium from watercolor. I do enjoy that the most, and I feel like I know that the most. But I think that just trying something different and getting a different perspective has helped me break out of that slump. And I find that when I do feel that I'm ready to come back to my regular art medium, which is watercolor in this case, I find I'm a lot more inspired, and I have new ideas, and I feel fresh about just starting something new and approaching it almost differently. And I feel like I've grown a little bit in that time. I find that I get really anxious though, and I beat myself up because I feel like I'm taking time off when I should be doing art, and I'm wasting all this precious time where I could be perfecting my skills. But I also find that the break is a huge factor to making me do better. I think I honestly started feeling the slump around June, and maybe it was just the summer and wanting to do more summer activities, but this is one thing I did. This is the Art Creations book by Royal Talons, and it's not really good for watercolor, and it's really not good for wet medium, but I did do a gouache painting here of just a Tokyo city, well, kind of rural cityscape, which was fun. And this is not something I'd normally paint. I wouldn't paint in this style. I wouldn't paint with gouache normally. But that was one thing I did that was just kind of stretching my legs, and this really helped me. I don't know, I was really proud of this piece, even though it doesn't look that great and I'm not proficient with doing gouache. I thought that turned out good. I also did this really creative study with Neo Pastels, NeoColor water, or NeoColor Pastels. NeoColor, what are they called? NeoColor 2 is what they're called. Anyways, this was just some random creative thing. I don't normally do this style either, but I thought I would do some bright color blocks with the colored pastels that I have that are really bright. And I used pencil crayon or colored pencil for the background. Did a kind of a monstera leaf pattern outline, just something super different. This was in July, early July I did this. And again, this is something that is not my style. And not typically, I would never color just with NeoColors and pencil crayons. So again, this kind of stretched my legs and helped me do something different to break out of my art slump. I also had this random idea, I've talked about this on the other vlog, but to do this kind of succulent drawing with pencil crayons or colored pencils as well. And when I had the idea, I was so excited, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. It'll be easy to do a plant, because even if I screw it up, I can still make it look like a plant, because no one has one specific way they think a plant should look, so it's not like drawing a person, right? Or a specific person you know. This was July 28th. I did this. It took me a week to finish it, and I hated it by the time I was done, because it took so long just to color in all the petals, and all the petal styles of coloring with the pencils was repetitive, and I really got annoyed with it. But I finished it. I was really proud that I actually seen it through to the end. And I learned in this process that I hate coloring with pencil crayons. So, I mean, that was a win. So that helped me a little bit. I got some more things to show you. Just some random things I did. I have this new book I bought at the art store when I went to visit my sister in Kelowna. And this one is by Stillman and Byrne. I don't know what series this is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's not full watercolor paper. But I just did some swatches of some watercolor and gouache that I picked up. This was early June, June 1st I did this. And just even putting color on paper helped. It was kind of, you know, it was something creative. I felt like I was doing something productive, but I wasn't actually making art, but I felt like I wasn't detached from art. So that's honestly the only thing I've put in this book so far. That's kind of sad, but I have lots of opportunity to make some more art in that book. One thing I did about a month ago, and I'm so proud of this. Let me see if I wrote the date, and I did not have to look through my journals to see when I painted this. But I came up with this chicken idea, and this was in gouache. I did a lot of gouache during my art kind of reset, I guess. This little chicken in a leather jacket, and I talked about this in another video. I actually have a video making this piece. And this took about a week too. I sketched out the chicken on my iPad, and then once I had the line work all perfect, I printed it out and resketched like the right sizing of the chicken on this page, and spent a week just enjoying the process. And this isn't, again, my typical art medium that I use. I always use watercolor, and I really enjoyed this. I'd actually like to do some more gouache. I think it's a natural progression for a watercolor artist to jump to gouache, or vice versa, just because they're similar. They're not the same, but they're similar. But I really, really, really loved making this piece, and I think about it a lot because I enjoyed that so much. One other thing, I have this other Stillman and Byrne. This is a multi or tri-colored sketchbook. This is the Nova series, and it's square. I love this format. This is a painting, hopefully I can get it in frame here, that I did as well that helped break out of my art slump. So I did this little bird sitting in this tulip, and again I did this in gouache, and I really thought that doing the flower with the bird kind of was a little bit different from my style. Normally I just paint birds, just plain old birds. And this one was actually doing something and had a bit of an interesting scene. And kind of like the chicken too, like he had his jacket and his gold trim, his sunglasses and stuff, so stretching my legs like that was so nice. And this, just doing these random art pieces, even though I didn't finish a piece a day like I'd normally do with my watercolor, it just helped me break out of that usual monotonous day-to-day, like how I would normally do art. Not that it's monotonous, but it got there. I got tired, and yeah, I think the reset really helped me. So just doing these random art pieces allowed me to come back to being able to make something like this, which is more my typical style. And I feel very comfortable working like this with pencil and then line work and then a little bit of watercolor wash with the art. So Just to give some context about this, what this drawing is about, this is a journal entry. I went to buy some fall mums yesterday, and as I went to lift them out of the cart at the grocery store, this white praying mantis was in the mums and just kind of popped out, and it startled me. I've never seen a white praying mantis before. I've only ever seen green ones. And the funny thing is that my sister was talking about this like a week ago, and she lives on the West Coast. We live sort of central eastern Ontario or Canada, and she was saying that she sees them all the time and that they're supposed to be a symbol of good luck. And I said to her, I've never seen one before. And then like a week later, there's a praying mantis on my fall mum. My camera light's blinking that it's going to die, and I thought I had a second battery, but it's more dead than this one. But I wanted to share. Welcome back, the battery died. And I just keep switching them, and they last for like 5 minutes, and then I put the other one on the charger and just keep rotating. Hopefully they will charge up enough that I can get some stuff filmed to share. But I did this the other day. Normally I just paint one painting a day, but I took a week on this, and I decided to do kind of a collage of some pieces of my week instead of just one image a day. And I feel like I'm still coming out of my art slump, but I pushed myself through making this. And so the one day we went for a walk, and we have this little pantry out in our community. We have a library that's been shut down by the township, which is unfortunate, but out in front, some members of the community have put up a pantry kitchen, and then everyone just drops off food and items that people need. And so every time we walk by, there's new items, and I just think it's really wonderful that everyone's pulling together. So I wanted to draw that. I came home the other night, and this little frog was on my back step on the gate, and he was probably like this big. He was not very big at all, just super tiny. So I drew him, and then we went for a walk at a provincial park that's really popular where I live, and we saw this tree stump, and it had all this moss growing on it and these bright yellow kind of mushroom fungus things. And my painting does not do it justice. I should have actually put some Posca pens down to brighten up the yellow. It was so super bright. I'll put a picture in so you can see what it actually looked like. It was beautiful. But yeah, so I'm sort of drawing again, but I'm having a hard time breaking out of my slump. And when I draw, I feel so good about it. And then I spend like, I don't know, a few days thinking about what I could draw next. And I'm kind of nervous about what to draw and getting started. I've been looking at other art on Instagram and other styles that people do. And I want to do some in my sketchbook, I think. Maybe just some pen and ink, maybe with some marker washes. I have some Copic markers I was thinking of. Maybe just doing like some lights and shadows with these two colors that I have sitting on my desk. These were actually doubles that I accidentally bought when I went to Japan. So I brought them upstairs, and they still are nice and juicy and work good. So maybe I'll do some sketching today with these after work. I also got some new Hobonichi planners in the mail. I don't know if you've heard about these. They're just a very popular planner company from Japan. I used the weeks last year, and there's actually a section where you can mark something for 100 days. And I was using that last year to track my 100 paintings that I wanted to do. I fell off the wagon because I tried to do unique paintings, but this year I'm going to use it just to track 100 paintings. I just want to hit that goal next year, so I'm just going to mark off every time I do a sketch or a drawing and make it a successful day. I don't know, have you experienced this? I'm sure every artist has gone through this. What do you do to break out of an art slump? But I found just trying different mediums has really, really, really helped me. And it's not something that I don't want to spend a lot of money on supplies, something I'm not going to use much, but yeah, I've really enjoyed just kind of experimenting with gouache especially. And I also tried a few different art books. I have some sketchbooks that aren't really made for watercolor that I just kind of doodle in, or ones that can hold gouache, which pretty much anything can hold gouache, as long as it's not too thin. But yeah, I've really enjoyed just kind of stretching my legs and kind of trying some other things, and it's made me more inspired to do some art. So I'm sorry if this video is a little rambly. I did want to just kind of touch on that, but let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or what you've done to get through art block or art slumps as well. And yeah, I would be curious to hear your recommendations, and they might be helpful to others too who are reading or watching this video. So anyways, I'm going to keep posting. I am on Threads, And I've been posting on there a lot of my art process and kind of in between, behind the scenes, day-to-day stuff. On Instagram is where I post my final art pieces. I feel more pressure to treat that more like a portfolio piece where I put my final art on Instagram, but I find that on Threads I feel a little more casual with day-to-day updates. So if you want to follow along, just kind of my life as an artist, or kind of a glimpse into what I go through and what I do, be sure to follow me there. It's Leanne Land Art, and the same on Instagram, of course, Leanne Land Art. And yeah, and if you aren't a member already of the channel, just be sure to subscribe so you're notified the next time I post a video to my channel. And if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like as well, because that always helps and I appreciate the support. Thank you so much for watching.